don't care who we wanna ship. We're gonna read your fic and we're gonna give it shipwrecked.
Welcome to Shipwrecked, the show where we bring to life the internet's best and worst fanfiction. We are your hosts, Ryan, Cris, and Taneene, and this week we're going to be taking the hit TV series Friends. Yeah, strong start, guys.
Right.
Yeah.
So we got that out of the way. It was gonna happen a lot.
I was really hoping it would happen, like it was like just a natural music cue, like finally my life became a movie and that would just come in, but nah, that didn't. So
we'll just pause for a second, waiting for it.
We all did.
Okay, we gotta do it.
We all just paused, hoping for that music to start.
Yeah, that's exactly what I was hoping for. Totally not gonna have nightmares with that theme song tonight. That's just, gosh. So, how'd y'all get introduced to Friends?
Okay, do you want to hear like the saddest thing? Okay, I wasn't allowed to watch Friends when I was growing up. It was like too much. I don't know. I was the first kid. They didn't know what to do. I remember writing in my diary when I was 11, when I was in 6th grade, and I was like, Friends is ending soon, and I feel like a huge part of my life is ending, even though I was never allowed to watch the show.
Oh no, that's so sad.
Oh no.
I was like, this is a weird experience for me because it's ending, but I don't know how to properly express how I feel because I've never watched it.
Man, what year did Friends end?
Like in
2004. Looked it up.
Oh. So
ran for 10 years.
It did. It ran for 10 solid ass years.
That's impressive. So it's like
solid
11,
is a strong word.
Maybe 10 or 11.
Yeah.
I feel like maybe that is not the age to watch Friends, but
no kidding. I wouldn't have understood a single goddamn joke. I didn't even speak English till I was 3, so that's several seasons lost to me because I didn't understand what they were saying.
Not wrong.
I'm just picturing itty bitty Taneene looking wistfully at the screen man, I just need to know what is that funny looking guy saying with the jokes?
Why is everyone laughing?
Yeah.
Why does David Schwimmer just look sad?
Yeah.
Because he's a sad man.
He's very
He's
sad.
very sad.
Did you guys ever try and watch his show with Jim Sturgis a few years ago on
he did a show with Jim
Feed the Beast? Oh shit, yeah, dude.
Serious?
He was married to a chef, and then Jim Sturgis was his other chef buddy, and they had a restaurant together, and then his chef wife died, and then Jim Sturgis was in jail, and then he owed the mafia money, and the guy's like, you owe me money, and he goes, yeah, I have a restaurant, and then all the money that we make will go to you, Mr. Mobman, and David Schwimmer's like, huh? Why? And then he's like, dude, we gotta make food for the mob now. And that was the premise of the show.
That just sounds like an episode of Friends.
Yeah, that's true.
The one where Joey promises the mob food. Cold open. Joey doesn't share food. He gets shot in the kneecap. Ah!
Dark.
I'm really excited to hear Taneene's Matt LeBlanc impression throughout this episode. It's real good.
It sounds exactly like that. It's just me.
Yeah. It's just yelling.
It's not wrong.
It is. It's just yelling. So anyway, you guys didn't explain how you guys got introduced to Friends.
Right.
Yeah.
So in college, I watched it growing up a lot, sporadically, but I really got into it, which is a strong word for it, in college because I went home for 5 days. And when I'm at home, I don't do much. So I watched 5 seasons of Friends in those 5 days.
How? There are 24 episodes in each season. You spent 1 day watching one season? 12 hours?
They're half-hour episodes, first of all.
Or they're 23 minutes. Yeah, but
Yes. The answer to your question is yes.
Yeah, so now that we're all a little bit concerned about Ryan's mental health,
And on the 6th day, I just couldn't do it anymore. I just got up. I just texted my friend.
The 6th day he rested.
The 6th day you rested.
I was like, I can't do it anymore. I hate every single character. I can't watch the show anymore.
You know, that's the
Done.
trouble with binging 90s shows because they're not made for binging. So you hate them after.
no.
I tried to binge Frasier and I wanted to I wanted to strangle him
Yeah.
by the
It's
end.
just
I was like, fuck you.
a similar thing happened with Lost to me, where I hated every character by the end. It was just
I only got through like
it's a real
2
I
seasons.
never
of
watched Lost.
Yeah.
I told myself I would wait 10 years after it ended and then I would just get really into it and act like it was brand new. And I'd be like, oh my God, did you guys like watch Lost? Crazy, huh? Like that smoke monster is fucking nuts, right? And they'd be like, yeah, Taneene, we all saw it 10 years ago. And I'd be like, nah, man, this is
gotta go
television
back.
right here. Like,
I mean, I'm imagining that I'm going to do like the same thing with like Breaking Bad and like The Walking Dead. Like in 10 years from now.
you don't need to do that with The Walking Dead.
I also
promise
had
Okay.
Another experience with Lost, but anyway, it's a story for another
So
podcast.
I never really like watched Friends. Like I never chose to. But my stepmother went through a period when I think I was in high school in which she watched the whole shebang. So I've seen sporadically episodes of Friends. I don't know how many cumulatively in my life. I don't know much about all of the characters. I get the general idea because I'm an American and Americans have seen Friends.
That's true.
Yeah.
Or as they like to call it on Unbreakable Kimmy Schmidt, 6 whiners.
The six
Or
wine.
six complainers.
Yeah.
It's not wrong.
I also like to think about it as like the homophobic, like racist, sizist show with all the 6 white people.
It is so uncomfortable
It's
now.
really
Very-
uncomfortable.
It's very bad.
I was reading this fic earlier that I'm not gonna read, where like that was written into the fic. Like these characters were so in character in the fic that they were like being upsetting.
And I mean, that's one of the reasons I hate Ross so much. Like when he like loses his shit over the male nanny, I was like, "Fuck you, Ross! You're such a waste of time. You goddamn whiny son of a bitch."
Yeah, Ross
that's
is just the worst.
the worst.
He's
Ross
so
is
bad.
the worst friend. And actually, if you have anyone and they say Ross is not their least favorite friend, you shouldn't talk to them.
Let me tell you this: I have actually conducted interviews where at the end I ask which friend is their favorite, and I tell them there is a wrong answer.
Yeah.
And then I only say yes to the people who don't say Ross is their favorite.
So I
Like
feel
when they say Ross is their favorite, I'm like, I'm sorry, we can't hire this person. They said Ross is their favorite.
Can
And they're
we-
like, that's legitimate.
can we actually rank the characters, the 6 of
Chandler.
them from? As you think Chandler's
Oh,
the best?
hang on. Actually, what it is there's 2 different rankings. Like in terms of like humor, it's like Chandler, Joey, everyone else. But in terms of the best person to be friends with, it's Joey. He's the best
Yeah,
friend.
I was gonna say Joey seems to me
Okay.
like the best person in the show.
Yeah. But yeah,
But funniest person, Chandler. I get
Yeah.
it. I get it.
Yeah.
for sure.
So Chandler and Joey can fight over 1 and 2. Then I think it's Phoebe, then Monica, then Rachel, then Ross. That's my
In terms
personal
of
opinion.
friends,
Yeah.
Well-
I've actually heard a pretty good reason of why, besides Ross, Phoebe would be the worst friend. And it's always because she goes back on everything she says. Like, she's very stringent about her beliefs, and then usually the same episode, she'll flip-flop on them.
Okay,
Oh,
maybe
yeah.
it's just the characters I think are the worst.
Yeah, so I think that's why
But
there's
it's
2 different
also,
rankings, like
Phoebe
Taneene
doesn't
said.
really
Yeah.
have like a history with them. You know, like where did she fucking come from? I've never been able to figure out like why she's their friend.
That's true.
You
She
know what I'm
is
saying?
I'm sure
probably the
someone
worst
could
friend,
tell us.
but
Like,
not the most
Phoebe-
terrible person.
Monica and Ross related. Monica and Rachel
Right.
friends since high school. Like Chandler and Ross roommates. Chandler and Joey roommates. Where does Phoebe fit in at
I
all?
don't know. Maybe she just saw them one day at that like coffee place
Central
where
Park.
they hang out, and she was
Oh,
like, yeah.
that fan theory that she's actually homeless and living outside of Central Park, and she just looks at them through the window and imagines like having all these
I
fun
like
adventures with them. And I was like, really, you're imagining all these god awful people? Like that's at
Dark.
least imagine them to be nicer.
Now I want to think about like how did
They're horrible
be
people.
better.
They're all horrible people.
what is Phoebe's background like? Now I'm looking it up. Now I need to know.
Phoebe was adopted, and her birth mother committed
No, she's a
suicide.
musician at their typical meeting place. Is that maybe how they met
That's
her?
not how they
were
met,
like,
though. I thought like somebody was like Monica and Phoebe lived together or something.
It's been a while for me.
I full on
No.
like every time I watch the show, I'm like, how did Phoebe get here? But
When I said on the 6th day I couldn't watch it anymore, I meant that, and it's probably been about 3 years since I've seen an episode of Friends.
every Thanksgiving we watch the one with the rumor. Come on, Will, take off your shirt and tell us. That's my mom's favorite Friends episode, so we always watch it.
I don't think I have a favorite Friends episode because I've never seen an episode more than once.
Oh,
Honestly, it's all a blur for me.
I think one of my favorite episodes is when Joey and Ross are napping together.
Ooh,
Aw.
that's
because
cute.
it's like cute, but I mean,
Well,
which brings us to our fix.
Yeah, seriously. All right, who wants to go first? I can start with the one with all the cuddling.
Oh, that's perfect.
Okay.
Please do.
All right. So the summary of this, it's by Alex_is_on_fire. It's on Archive of Our Own. Joey has taught Chandler how to hug, but what about cuddling in bed? All right.
What about
I'm just
it?
gonna jump right in. You know, if the shorter person is behind the taller person, it's called jetpacking, right? Joey mumbled into the back of Chandler's shoulder. It's not spooning. Chandler frowned. Really? Even when they're only like 3 inches shorter than you? Hey, I'm not that much shorter than you, Joey complained, sitting up slightly so he had a better view of Chandler's face. Fine, 2 inches. At least my dick is at least 2 inches longer than yours, Joey grumbled, turning to lie on his back as Chandler chuckled and rolled onto his side, facing Joey. Aw, don't sulk. My dick is only 3 inches, so yours is still small, honey. Joey slapped him playfully, pulling the duvet over his face to hide his smile.
He's not gay enough to say that.
No, it's
I'm
true.
sorry.
You are an actual child. No, I'm not. I'm a teenager. Well, sorry. Well, you're horny enough to be one, I guess, Chandler deadpanned, flicking the area of forehead he could see as Joey slowly pulled the duvet away from his face. How did this turn from me teaching you how to cuddle into horny teenagers? Joey wondered out loud, staring up at the ceiling. Chandler shrugged. I don't know, but you still haven't actually taught me anything about cuddling other than the smaller person lying behind the bigger person is jetpacking. And I'm not exactly the type of guy to go for someone taller than me. I look pathetic enough as it is. You don't look pathetic, Joey frowned, ignoring the rest of what Chandler had said. Except maybe when you wear those sweater vests. I mean, seriously, dude, at least make them leather. Chandler rolled his eyes in response, lying down on his back next to Joey, who in turn rolled onto his side to face Chandler. Thanks, man, but this is gay enough for me. Can we get to the cuddling now? Joey raised an eyebrow. I'm choosing cuddling with you over a sandwich. Feel honored, Joey laughed, shuffling close to Chandler and resting his head on his chest and turning so he was lying more on his back. He pulled Chandler's arm around his neck and tried to relax all his muscles. This is called shingles. Don't ask me why. It's comfortable, Chandler mumbled, holding back a sneeze when Joey's hair tickled his nose. Except for the tickling. Sorry, man. Joey tried to look sympathetic. The tickling is unavoidable. Wow, a 5-syllable word. Well done, Joey. Stop.
That's so mean.
That's rude.
That's mean.
Stop trying to change the subject away from all the gay. Joey glared.
That should be our tagline.
Yeah. To be honest,
Welcome, shipwrecked.
I'm gonna leave it there because that was actually my favorite line of the fic. So,
And on a high note, yeah.
Stop trying to change the subject away from all the gay.
I actually have that tattooed across my chest.
Wow.
I believe it.
Is it backwards so that you can like look in the mirror and remind yourself every day, or?
It's actually both ways.
Ooh, magic.
Wow. Both ways.
Yeah.
Not sure how that works. I don't want to ask.
I try not to.
Yeah, don't ask
I don't think
questions.
about it too much.
Anyway, guys,
You don't want
stop trying to change the subject away from all the gay. What's your next fic?
to. I'll go next. Mine is a crossover fic.
Oh, I love it.
I'm already.
And I'll let you guys figure out what the crossover is because it tells you pretty quickly. But it's called How You Doing?
Oh, I found that one too. It's so good.
This is all new for me.
Let me get into characters real quick.
Gotta do the good voices.
Yeah, you gotta do the voices.
Gotta do the voices.
How you doing? Dean furrowed his brow and swiftly twisted around, staring at the man that was widely smirking back. His arms crossed over his chest and continuously looked him up and down. I'm good, the hunter replied awkwardly, with a weird curve in his lips for a smile, hiding his gun behind him and out of view. They had a call about a ghost and the Winchesters were on it. Dean was checking the lower half of the building and his dad had the upper half. Had been at the bottom of the stairs when the guy decided to talk to him. He didn't even notice he was there. You got a name, or can I just call you Gorgeous? That was a pretty lame pickup line, but damn if it didn't work. His brain actually had to stop and process, and he could feel a little bit of heat spreading through his cheeks.
Which cheeks?
Keep reading to find out.
Dark.
Have to impress me if you want my name, he shot back seductively and eyed the man up and down, taking in his posture and appearance. He didn't look that older than him. Maybe a year or two? 3 tops. He had dark hair that spiked up, a strong build, and he dressed pretty stylishly. Black jeans, gray shirt, Dr. Martin boots. He smirked subtly and hid his gun behind his belt behind him. He didn't need the guy to question it. Dean could always just call it a prop or something if he asks. All right, he said simply and stepped closer, getting into his space before leaning his head in and taking his lips, a hand reaching up to hold the back of his neck. His other hand slid down to his hip, holding him there with a loose grip. He kissed him over and over, soft and gentle, gradually getting firmer and firmer, and eventually he felt the expected tongue smooth across his lips,
Ooh.
moistening them and taking its time until it slipped into his mouth for a second or two.
Wow.
He had to admit, this guy was good. He was slow, almost teasingly slow. It was making Dean want it that little bit more. He'd been hit on by guys before, but it depended on the person, if he'd go for them or not. He'd leave or ignore if a guy was like a biker dude, the old grease hog type, or the too forward want some sex type. They were too blunt and open. The guy that was with him now, stylish, clean, flirty, a tease, and looked like he'd be an amazing time. The point was just proving itself right when he felt his body being moved, gradually being pressed into the wall with the guy keeping a steady hold on him, still kissing him as their tongues played Twister, and oh Christ.
Tongues played Twister. Yes. It's my favorite fanfic metaphor. Okay.
I just don't understand why in fics they always lick the mouth so they're like open sesame, like eh. Like it's not like you're using the like tongue as like a zipping motion, like to unzip the mouth. Like just shove it in there, I guess. I hate
for
kissing.
yourself.
Michelle Pfeiffer in Batman.
Life's a bitch. Now
Returns.
so am I.
Yeah. Just lick you on the mouth. All right.
Anyway, he felt him line his body up with his, their hot bodies pressed together. He could feel the slow growing tent against his. The hunter broke the kiss, but stayed close, their mouths only an inch or two away. Dean stared at him, their eyes locked, and he gave a smirk. Dean, he said softly, ran his hands up the guy's sides. Joey, the stranger winked cheesily. Nice to meet you. Finished.
Finished.
They're just getting started.
Yeah.
But...
Wow. I mean, I feel like the thing is just that these characters are like too similar for me.
Yeah, Chandler and Joey had a baby, and his name is Dean.
Yeah.
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 That's what I was noticing. There's a lot of supernatural crossover fics in this genre.
Uh-huh. Well,
I mean, it might be granted
that's because
every
there's
genre,
a lot of supernatural fics out there.
But yeah, like I found one where they just rewrote episodes of Friends and replaced it with supernatural characters.
Yeah, but the weird one was Cass wasn't Phoebe. And
yeah, who was Cass? They made him...
I think they made him like Chandler or something. Monica? Yeah, that doesn't make any sense.
No.
Sam is for sure Monica or Ross, which he was. I saw in the description.
I think he should be Ross. I feel like Monica should be Crowley.
Yeah, like the part where he has no soul.
Yeah, Cass is for sure Phoebe because he doesn't know what the hell's going on. No one understands why he's there, and he just he just like says weird shit all the time, and no one understands why.
Yep.
It's just part of his character.
It just, yeah, it makes way more sense.
Yeah.
But I'm sorry for all this Phoebe hate. Phoebe doesn't deserve this. Ross deserves all the hate. Fuck you, Ross. You're the worst.
I understand the Phoebe hate. I just feel like I personally would be some kind of mixture between Joey and Phoebe. So
I know a lot of people like to identify with Phoebe because she's always fun and quirky and weird.
I'm so
No.
quirky.
I've always identified with Chandler because he's got like relationship and intimacy issues. He uses humor as a crutch, and he hates Thanksgiving. All three things that you could use to describe me.
Yeah, it's not wrong.
I fucking hate Thanksgiving so much. It's disgusting. The food is disgusting.
It's the whitest holiday.
It's the
Well, I don't know. It might be tied with 4th of July.
well, either way, we're always if it's celebrating the genocide of a people.
Yeah,
It's
You
the
know why
whitest
people are
holiday.
there.
yeah. You're right.
I'm all about Halloween.
Yeah, Halloween is the best holiday, hands down.
Halloween, hands down.
Hands down.
Best holiday.
And I feel like most people listening to this podcast would feel that way.
Our dear listeners.
Tell us what your favorite holiday is. If you say Thanksgiving, we're going to block you.
Swear to God. Stop listening
Subscribe now because we're changing it from shipwreck to about
To fuck
Thanksgiving.
Yeah.
Well,
Okay.
I've got quite a few fics that I'd like to share.
I would like you to share them with me.
All right, so
Not
here's
with
one.
Ryan, so just me.
Okay, I'll leave.
Ryan, take your headphones out.
All right,
This is
I'll just go do something else.
yeah.
Here's a good one. I just can't contain this feeling that remains. Chandler lies with Joey in his bed, spent and sated, his head on his shoulders. Joey's arm locks their bodies together. One of his hands lays splayed over the heat of Joey's stomach. They've been entangled like this for almost an hour, with Joey's intermittent sighs and shifts rousing Chandler from his sleep. The way Joey threads his fingers through Chandler's hair certainly isn't helping either. Joey slides his legs in the sheets, exhaling a long drag. Chandler rolls his eyes through the privacy of his closed lids. "Hey, Chan," Joey mumbles. "Do you think snails have feelings?" "Oh my god, I will set you on fire." "I can't sleep," Joey whines, stretching his legs out and flopping impossibly further into the pillows. Seriously, I just want to stop there because that's the peak of that fic is, do you think
It's
snails have feelings?
really good.
Unfortunately, it's like something I would ask though. Ugh.
And also, by the way, they do have feelings. They're trying their best and I love them and they're very handsome. Please don't step on any snails today.
So I have a confession. I ate a snail this week.
How was it? Delicious, right? Buttery and delicious and
Tastes like,
garlicky?
like a mushroom, but then I realized that it probably had feelings and I felt weird. But then I was like,
Now you're making me sad.
no, that's how I feel like a lot of times when I'm eating like meat is like I start to think about it, then I start to like
You just don't think about
You
it.
just gotta tell yourself that maybe the cow you were eating was like a Nazi sympathizer or something.
Yeah.
yeah, I feel like most cows are.
Cows are rude. No, they can have best friends. I can't even make this shit up. They can have best friends.
Are you serious?
Yeah.
Actually, I heard about this study where if you're nice to cows, they did this over a year versus like just feed them or whatever. Like if you pet them and you give them names, they produce per cow 68 more gallons of milk a year if you're just nice to them.
That's why niceness is great, and we should always be nice to each
Yeah,
other.
you'll get more milk.
It does, yeah. It's like a milky friendship.
Back in Merced, there was the bike lane would follow some cow property, and their stories are just like how the cows would chase bikers along the fence line
Me too.
as you go. So cows apparently a little bit fast.
Oh, you know what are fast? Bears. Holy shit. Do
Yeah,
not think
man,
you
bears
can
are
outrun a
scary.
bear. Wow. Did you guys see that Alec Baldwin movie one time where he fights the bear? Oh,
No,
that fucked me up, guys. It's an Anthony Hopkins, Alec Baldwin movie where they get stranded out in the wilderness and this bear has the hunger for human flesh. Yeah! And then it like chases them
Is
down.
this like a serious movie?
This is an actual film that occurred.
I know, but
were
is
they
it supposed to be
joking?
serious or is it like
Yeah, it
Oh,
was very
no.
scary.
Oh,
I did
no.
not care for that bear.
can Alec Baldwin like act in serious things? Sorry.
Haven't you seen Boss Baby?
No, I haven't. I don't even know what that is.
Nothing upset me more than them repurposing lines from Glenn Ross for Boss Baby. I was like, who is this for? Because the person that watched Glenn Ross and liked it is not having children. Like, who are you bitching this to?
No, it's right.
It doesn't make sense. Anyway, back to our fig house.
Yeah.
All right, here's one. I read like another chapter one. Sorry, another paragraph one. I'm going to read another paragraph, and then I'm going to go to my other really good one. Sorry, guys. I just got really excited this morning when I was doing my research.
Right. You had to wait so long to watch Friends. It's only fair that you make up for it now.
You're just letting it all out right now, and it's okay.
Yeah, let it all hang out. Mm-hmm.
I had a lot of opinions about Friends.
And
the show episodes. And Grace and Frankie, obviously. You guys know.
Grace and Frankie. Yeah.
Which, after the show, please find us on Twitter and tell us whether you like episodes or Grace and Frankie more, because I'm very interested to see like the divergence of...
Yeah.
Please put the poll up.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I want to see how that diverged and who followed whom. But anyway, this fic is basically after, I think, the end of everything. Like, Rachel flew to Paris, Phoebe started hanging out with Mike more, and I think Chandler and Monica like moved away because, as you all recall, Chandler fell asleep during a meeting and then agreed to move to Indiana. So, which was like,
is that an actual
in the
plot
90s?
point?
Yeah, an actual plot point. Like in the 90s, like you could literally get away with anything, like anything. Nowadays, if that happened, you'd be like, "Are you fucking serious right now? That's not a plot point."
That's
anyway,
to be fair. Okay.
So they're like, Joey and Ross have been kind of hanging out together because they're like very lonely, and Ross is like whiny and useless. So then one day, Joey invited Ross back to his place so they could watch Die Hard. They both shouted the movie title at the top of their lungs and raced upstairs like little kids to slam the DVD in, and Joey settled down on his large black chair while Ross pulled up a stool next to him. A stool to watch Die Hard? I'm sorry, like, I just need to take an aside here. A stool to watch Die Hard? How dare you? Like, your butt's
is it a Die Hard specific stool?
No, but I'm saying, like, if you're gonna watch Die Hard, like, you need to, like, be on a couch or something.
You do. That sounds super uncomfortable.
Also, like, it's gonna be really hard to have a boner on a stool because, like, obviously, like, Bruce Willis is so, like, fresh to death. Like, everyone's, like, you know,
make it happen,
drooling for him. Anyway, I'm back to the fic.
Anyway,
it was fun. More fun than Ross had since Rachel, Mon, and Chandler moved away. More fun than Ross had in a couple months, actually. He'd missed this, laughing and forgetting about his troubles and what he missed whenever he let himself back into his apartment across the street. When the movie ended and Ross got up to leave, Joey threw a curtain. Oh, certain. I'm so sorry. A certain furtive look
through a curtain. Yeah. Same.
I took my glasses off, so I'm like holding my iPad really close to my face right now as I read this, and for some reason my brain was like, that's a U, not an E, and I was like, a curtain, that's a curtain. So Ross didn't have to ask what the look was for. He'd remembered all too well what had transpired the last time they had watched Die Hard together. He'd remembered all too well just how simultaneously weird and wonderful their first nap had been, and how Joey couldn't hide the fact that he wanted to do it again. "Night, Joe," Ross said with a polite nod. As he left, he could hear Joey sighing. Later, while Ross was lying in his too-big bed, he couldn't stop tossing and turning. In a way, he wasn't surprised at all about it. He should have known that he'd wind up back here, back to thinking, well, it wouldn't be that bad if we did it again. None of the others would barge in on them, and Ross was almost certain that all the awkward stuff had gone on between Joey, Rachel, and himself was water under the bridge. Otherwise, Joey wouldn't have looked at him the way he did earlier that night. Right? It only took 2 rings for Joey to pick up his phone. "I knew you were up for it," he said in that sly, rumbling tone of his that Ross heard him use on countless women, and that made him shiver this time for some reason. "I could see it in your eyes." "I have no idea what you're talking about," Ross said, standing right outside Joey's front door. Things began to progress at a shockingly rapid speed after that. Shockingly or strangely amazing. Ross couldn't really tell the difference. It was like one of those flip books that he used to be so awed by as a kid, the pages flickering in one smooth arc to reveal a shifting animated image, an evolving image. Weird slowly turned into nice, which turned into the best sleep Ross Geller had in what felt like years, which turned into, dude, Are we spooning? Which turned into a 2-person margarita party that somehow led to a few fumbling kisses, which turned into, we did not just do that, which turned into them doing more stuff that they both did not just do, which somehow segued into, so how the hell are we going to do this? Which turned into something that actually felt pretty damn good, which turned into something that Ross had never, ever in his wildest dreams imagined would happen. Oh my God, I'm sleeping with Joey, Ross announced to the ceiling as though confirming it out loud would surely snap him awake, but it didn't. That a problem? He heard from the other side of the bed. Ross cleared his throat and said, no. Okay then, Joey said, sounding like he was smiling, but then he grumbled, now keep it down. I got an early day on set tomorrow. I'm sleeping with Joey, Ross thought as he rolled over on his side, watching his best friend slip back into unconsciousness, and suddenly, like a bright, shining moment in the series of bright, shining moments that had a habit of ending up in something bleak and messy for Ross, he realized that he didn't mind the concept as much as he thought he would. In fact, he didn't mind it at all. So, I'm finishing on that note, and I'm just moving on to my other fic that I'm not even going to tell you what the title is because I just love like the way this fic progresses. You guys ready?
I don't know. No kidding.
Well, I'll tell you. Also, how do I have such a propensity for finding these fics with such long sentences? Like, I feel like that other fic had like a very, very long sentence.
Yeah, we gotta break.
No. Anyway. Are you guys ready?
I don't.
Yes.
Yeah. All right. Hype.
I'm going to read just like the first like few paragraphs of this just because I love this concept so much, but also we need to talk about how poorly some people are described in this fic, because I'm like, I don't know if you've ever read or done anything or seen a movie. Anyway. Okay, we're coming in.
Hype.
He had never even looked at a man like that. What was wrong with him? That's what Joey Tribbiani thought as he silently watched his new roommate leave the bathroom and go to his room using only a towel around his waist. Harry Potter had moved to New York 2 weeks ago and found Joey's at the day he arrived in the city. Apparently, the boy had money enough to pay the rent and seemed to be fun enough to have around. He didn't really need the money, not with how well he was doing in Days of Our Lives, but he had gotten tired of living by himself, and he missed having a single friend with him, like it was when he and Chandler lived together, only it wasn't. He had never, ever thought about Chandler like that, but he couldn't seem to stop himself. Harry was just beautiful. Even the girls had said so. Well, the girls and Chandler, and there wasn't much of a difference there. He had long, completely black hair, as dark as it could be, and it reached to his shoulder blades. His eyes were so green, Monica had asked him if he wore lenses, and he said he didn't, that was the natural color of his eyes, apparently a trait inherited from his mother. His skin was pale, as if he wasn't used to being in the sun, and his lips were a dark red, full and perfectly kissable. He was a man, though. A man with manly parts and manly bits and a manly voice, even if he was a bit short and skinny. He wasn't built like Ross, who could compensate being skinny with his height, or like himself as a perfect example of the male body, if he did say so himself. He was thin, a bit short, and his long hair gave him a weird look, and it was a good weird. Rachel had called him ethereal, whatever that meant, and Phoebe had agreed, so Joey was all for describing him like that. Ethereal, but a man all the same. There was no mistaking the guy for a girl, even if he wanted to, and he didn't. He didn't want to keep thinking about his brand new roommate like that.
Okay,
can we just talk about the characterization here?
The one where Harry Potter moves in.
No, it's called The One with Harry Potter.
It's really good.
It's amazing. Okay, can we talk about it really quick? I'm sorry. Harry is not short. He is tall. He does not have long ass fucking Snape hair. He does not have
this person just watched the 4th Harry Potter movie and wrote
I was going to say, they watched the one with that hair.
Yeah, but then his eyes wouldn't be green. You know what I'm saying? That's what annoys me, is like, you're clear, like, I don't know where you're getting your inspiration from here. And then Phoebe knowing the word ethereal, Rachel knowing the word ethereal, sorry.
The whole thing is wrong.
Rachel would not know what that word is.
Also, just like, Harry Potter moving in with the Friends cast is like the weirdest crossover I've ever heard in my
Please.
life.
It's the best fic I have ever read. It's amazing.
I just don't know.
It's
Can you click on this person's handle and tell me more about them? Like, I need to know what they're doing, if they're okay,
If they're still
doing it.
Well, in the next, so it's part 1 of the Friends with Benefits series.
Right.
It was published in
Part 1. So it's part 2. It's like going to be the one with someone else. Is this just a crossover fic series?
No, it was almost published exactly 5 years ago, 2/5/2013.
No.
And so the relationships are Joey Tribbiani, Harry Potter, Chandler Bing, Monica Geller, Phoebe Buffay, Mike Hannigan, Ross Geller, Rachel Green, Derek Hale, Styles Stilinski, Allison Argent, Scott McCall, others. And then the characters, all the cast from Friends, Harry Potter, the whole pack, and then
So you're
some.
telling me Steric also happens in this?
Yeah, but that's in part 2, but they never wrote part 2.
I'm going to write part 2.
Give me the reins.
Okay, so then, let's see. This author has also written Captain America and Iron Man fics, Steric, and Treasure Island, Pietro Dillon, a vampire thing, some Steric, heavy Steric shipping. Oh, Foggy and Derek Hale and Matt and Styles. Matt Murdock and Styles Stilinski. So it's like a Daredevil Teen Wolf crossover.
What?
Okay, you know what? This author gets all the points. Way to go, Dark_K. You're fantastic. You're my new favorite. I love you. This Harry Potter thing is my favorite fucking thing.
No, it's good.
So good. I love, okay, this is like, anyway, Joey's like thinking about Harry Potter and he's like, he's beautiful. And, are you sure? Like, you seem to be really angry. And he's like, just thinking about them girls. They make me mad, he said without thinking, sounding completely crazy. And now Harry must think he was an idiot. Against all odds, Harry laughed. You know, girls do drive you crazy. That's why I gave up on them, he said casually, leaning on the kitchen counter so close to where Joey was sitting on the stool they could hug. Not that Joey was thinking about hugs. He wasn't. He totally wasn't.
Well, at least that's in character.
Yeah. But like Harry's like super gay now and he just like doesn't even give a shit.
Yeah.
And I love it.
Honestly, how all Harry Potter fanfic should be read.
That's why I grew his hair out.
Yeah.
Oh, and then here you go. Chapter 3 starts with Ross was weird, Harry decided once they were sitting around the table eating a breakfast worth of Molly Weasley. Monica, Ross's sister, was a bit like Molly, only way more paranoid and crazy, but still, with a bit of I'll feed everyone all the time that was nice. Rachel was nice enough, a bit loud and self-absorbed, but really pretty people usually had that problem, and she wasn't all that bad. Phoebe was hilarious and reminded Harry of Luna a little bit, and Chandler was fun. And he and Monica really worked out as a couple in a way that few couples did. But Ross was extremely weird. Harry wasn't sure he liked him at all.
Yes.
That's right. Because Ross is the worst.
Ross is just like Professor Quirrell or something. Like, Ross, like, what?
Ross is the troll in the dungeon.
True. It's also true.
It's not wrong, yeah.
Ross is the evil vines that try to choke the children at the beginning and the end of Sorcerer's Stone. Ross is the egg that can only scream scream when you open it.
Yeah.
Fuck Ross.
Okay, do you remember when Crumb transfigured just his head into a shark's head in Goblet of Fire?
Into a shark.
Yeah.
When they're doing the mermaid challenge? Ross is that.
Ross is rough.
Ross is just a shark head.
Yeah.
Ross
on a
is just
person.
the worst. It's like, you want to know how to make 5 people look better? Put in Ross.
He's so irritating.
And like,
he's just like,
do you think he would have been less irritating at all if a different actor had played him?
No, it's his character because he's the classic nice guy.
Yeah, he is.
Trademark.
He is.
You know, he pines after Rachel, but he not only puts her on a pedestal, but he also simultaneously looks down on her.
No,
it's a
right.
very odd.
And are
it's
we
a
just going
very
to ignore
odd
the
dichotomy.
aspect with his ex-wife and how homophobic and offensive he is to them.
He's so fucking weird about
I
it.
feel like I should just
He's
go
just-
and change every guy in my phone who's like awful to Ross.
You should. He's super weird about it. He's kind of the polar opposite of Chandler, where Chandler is so scared of the commitment, of like failure, of all that he holds himself back. But Ross is so like such a mediocre white man that he's like, this is gonna work out, and he gets married like 8,000 times. Like, stop ruining people's lives.
Also, can we talk about how I'm pretty sure Ross and Joey wouldn't be friends on their own without anyone else?
Oh, I'm sorry. I just read you this fic where they're making out.
I know, and I was thinking, I'm just like, I don't think Joey would go for Ross.
No.
I think he'd be like nice.
No.
Well, no, because Ross is never looking out for Joey.
Right.
And he never sees past his own issues. So, like, for example, if you guys remember that episode where Chandler makes up a game so that he can give money to Joey without Joey realizing that he's giving him money, and then Joey goes to teach Ross the game and he takes all the money away from him. That comes from such a place of like, he's inconsiderate and he's so like not self-aware or aware of like other people's issues that he thinks that like that's an okay thing to do. Like, he's just not, for a man with a PhD, like, his brain is clearly just as, no, I'm saying like he should be, what I'm saying is all of his brain power is just used on dinosaurs apparently. Like, he just
not
He
wrong.
studies
cuts it off.
dinosaurs. I missed that whole.
I think I actually saw a picture of a Tinder bio where someone compared themselves to Ross Geller. And I'm just like, why would you do that? It's just like, hey, ignore me because I'm going to be an abusive
Just
asshole.
gonna
Swipe
nope out of
left
that
immediately.
situation.
But yeah, Ross is a paleontologist.
Yeah, in the episode with the one with the rumor, and Brad Pitt's character Will goes, "Hey Ross, do you remember how into dinosaurs we were? Wow, we were such losers." And he's like, "Yeah." And he goes, "So what do you do now?" And he goes, And he just like walks away.
So anyway, I've decided that I'm gonna go study some dinosaurs in school. Didn't know how to break it to you guys, but anyway, I have this huge picture.
So
of
anyway,
Ross.
podcast is canceled.
I just, while Chris realizes her dream.
Yeah.
I mean, the real bad boy paleontologist is Dr. Alan Grant from Jurassic Park, everyone's favorite. He can slice me up with his velociraptor claw any day. What's up, girlfriend? I went through a really bad Jurassic Park phase last year where I watched it at least 20 times.
I'm not surprised though.
I mean,
You have
I
a
still-
capacity for
What,
like
sorry?
watching things in repetition that I think most people don't.
I mean, we learned today that I watched 60 hours of Friends in 5
Yeah,
days.
but did you
so
watch it again
true.
after that? Because
never again, actually.
Yeah, that's, like when kids like get really into something and they just want to watch it over and over again. I never grew out of that.
It's a problem.
it's
send
okay.
help.
I
Yeah.
feel that way about the Vampire Diaries. So
How many times have you seen the Vampire
I don't know,
Diaries?
but the only thing comforting about it is that my other friend has seen it more times than I have now.
You always need that
Yeah.
one friend that's like a little bit more into it, or at least a little bit more of a train wreck than you are, so it makes you feel
Well,
better.
the problem is I introduced Katie to it, and then she like, oh yeah, this is a good show. She watches the whole thing. Then all of a sudden, she's watching the whole thing again. Then a month later, the whole thing is happening again. Then like she's still watching it, like in this,
To this
yeah,
day, actually.
again and again. But it's comforting, It's a very comforting show.
Oh no, it is. I watched it at the gym.
Yeah. How far are you now into that?
Episode 3.
You've
I
been
work
to the
very
gym
slowly.
3
I don't go to the gym that often.
Every time I go to the gym.
Well, do we have any closing thoughts about Friends?
Ross is the worst.
Ross is the worst. Yeah.
Ross is the
Well,
worst.
okay, so if you guys were Ryan, you didn't say what character you would
Probably
Chandler.
Chandler. He's like, I'm awkward and wear shirts that are too big for me.
God, he like suffered from Dorito bod so
Dorito
badly.
bod.
It was so bad.
When like your whole chest is like a giant. I mean, your torso is like a upper torso is a upside down
Oh, yeah.
triangle.
I
And
mean,
then, like
the 90s
Dorito.
fashion did not
Dorito
help too
body.
much.
Chandler's the best. Oh no, and then Joey's the best. and that's why Episodes is the better show. Everyone go
I
watch
guess now I'm gonna
Episodes,
have
but
to.
Grace and Frankie
I'll
is
have to
great
watch
also.
Episodes because I've been on that Grace and Frankie vibe. Just speaks to my old white woman. Well, thanks guys for tuning into this episode of Shipwrecked. If you have any comments, concerns, or better yet, fic recs or episode suggestions, you can tweet us at ShipwreckedCast, or you can visit our website at shipwreckedpodcast.com. And yeah, from our OT3 to yours, so long and farewell.